How you guys doing? Today on Age of Empires Mobile, it's going to be the ultimate guide for free-to-players and spenders who are looking to play Warrior Infantry in the game. I'm going to teach you guys early game what you're going to be picking up, what you're going to be working on, and then what you're going to be transitioning into for your secondary season heroes. So with that, smash like, comment, and subscribe, and let's dive into today's video. This is going to be the free-to-play infantry warrior setup when you start the beginning of the game. So this is when you just start out early game, you're looking for something to run while you're working on your main heroes for your next lineup. So this is going to be Josephine, Hammurabi, and King Derek. And there is a major reason you need all of these commanders in their specific roles or positions in this formation. I'm going to explain that in a moment, but this is going to be really accessible for most players because King Derek you're going to earn through the Giants Raw event, and you can 5-star him for free, guys. So I would recommend doing that and not missing out on an easy free 5-star hero that's going to be used even for the spenders later down the road. Then Hammurabi, really good hero that you can unlock through chests and even the tavern with an increased rate. And then Josephine, you can actually choose to, in the Battlefield Survivor, use your chest to unlock her over the Joan of Arc, and with the tavern increase again, you're actually going to get a really high level Josephine. With the ring choices, you're going to see here, this is going to be the end game rings that you're going to be going for, which is the lion, no, the ring of the lion, the ring of the clover, and the ring of the bear. This is a really cheap option for players because you've got 2 epic rings as well as 1 rare ring, meaning you're not going to be super, behind trying to max out a legendary ring further down the line. We are going to talk about rings in a moment, but we're going to separate that into a different category. So now let's just quickly explain how this March setup actually works and what skills you're going to need to unlock for the heroes and what's actually going to be good for a free-to-play in case you want to use them elsewhere. Because as you can see, King Derek and Josephine is a warrior infantry, but they are dual speciality with the archers, so you can use them elsewhere, which you are able to do in another video. If you've not checked it out, my full warrior archer guide up in the top corner right now. So if we go into this March and actually explain how this works, what you're going to actually want to do on your Josephine is at least unlock 1 of her skills. And if you're going to unlock only 1 skill, I would remove the infuriation. This is going to increase the actual might for the hero, which is a really good choice for an epic skill, but you can replace this easily with a double attack. This is going to increase the chance that obviously you're in the double attack state, and increases your might, strategy, and armor, which is your raw stats, which is really good as well, for 3 seconds. This is going to allow a lot more synergy to occur with the team, which occurs with her main skill, which is healing, right? So after launching a normal attack and now you're in a double attack state, you have 1 instance of damage, which could be 2 instances of damage per turn if you hit the double attack state, and you're recovering your troops. So you're really, really tanky in doing so. The reason we're going to keep Sunder, because it is after launching a normal attack, and you can see how this synergizes beautifully with the double attack. This skill is going to work with our King Derek. So the one thing you need to understand with King Derek, guys, is you always want King Derek at the end of the formation. This is because when you read his main commander skill, he actually says when the target is in a rout state. So if that target is there, if they hit that requirement, you increase their might damage taken, meaning once they're in the rout and it hits King Derek's turn, he deals this damage and they're routed, well, he's applying a debuff on now, and it's going to allow each of your heroes, the Josephine, the Hammurabi, and technically your King Derek now, to deal more damage to that target. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if they are routed. So Josephine can have the Sunder still on her. This is going to allow you to trigger it. And same with the Hammurabi. Hammurabi can keep the Sunder on him and actually has a route effect built into his commander skill. So you've got 3 ways now of triggering this before your King Derek is online. And if you're looking for a skill you could go for, I actually like Bloodthirst on this hero just to give you more recovery in the long run of fights. You can go down another choice. If you want to unlock a second skill, it would be the Earth Crush, which is a better version of Sunder, and that is what you would be replacing. Coming down to the King Derek, the actual skill that you only care about is going to be your good old Righteous Judgment. I do love this skill. After entering charging state, after 3 seconds, it deals might damage to enemy true, and it reduces all of their enemy heroes' might and strategy by a flat amount. This is really good again because it gives you a tempo swing on top of the damage taken buff you're already applying to him. So this is a full synergistic team, and hopefully you understand now why you can come out of this, why Hammurabi is always going to be in the center, or why King Derek has to be at the end just to make sure he has the route effect on the actual hero, and he's going to actually increase the damage they take. So really good, effective free-to-play player team. This is what you're going to be working towards, and then you're going to be moving into your main team. So what we're going to go down now is the main free-to-play warrior team, which includes a seasonal 1 hero and a seasonal 2 hero that you can fully earn free-to-play. So this will be your end game goal as a free-to-play player, and you can switch the final hero out for a better hero down the line, or for even heroes you currently own like Josephine or King Derek, depending on which hero is better. So that first slot is quite flexible, but the main go-to that you need to understand is Yodit and Tribuana. So as a free-to-play player, you're going to be able to earn in your very first season, this is all the way from the start of the game until you capture that Imperial City in the center of the whole season, you're going to be able to unlock Tribuana in that season through the legendary Advent Wheel. You're going to need to spend at least 20k Empire coins. This is going to give you at least 20 unlocks for her, which does give you a guaranteed unlock, but you can go a little bit harder if you choose to. I would personally just kind of spin it every time it can come around and get the 20 unlock and save your basically summons for the next hero, which is going to be Yodit, that you unlock after the Imperial City has been captured. Wait a few weeks afterwards and you will realize the next legendary Advent Wheels come around with the seasonal 2 heroes like Boudica, Bellevue, Lubu, and now here we are with Yodit. And Yodit's going to be the one you're going to be going into as the free-to-play player, trying to unlock her as high as possible. This is going to be your main kind of damage deal for now, because you don't have access to obviously the spender heroes in there. This is a really good lineup because of the way it synergizes together, and at the end of the day, it's a pretty flexible comp because of the 3rd hero being switched out. Even though I've got Hammurabi in there, I personally like him in there for the healing and basically the route effect that he's guaranteed to apply, meaning chasing down targets is really, really good. So let's break this down in game and showcase how this powerhouse of a free-to-play combo truly works. So, Yodit, Tribuana, and Hammurabi. This match is pretty good for free-to-play players because of one reason. You get a really insane synergy because of Tribuana and Yodit's skill. And this is kind of the beginner entrance into some kind of in-depth mechanics on the spender level, which we're going to talk about later down the line. But Tribuana in this whole lineup is the bread and butter. She's the glue of this match, and basically her main commander skill here says it increases this signature skill, it increases the activation chance of your commander skills by 12%. It also recovers your units, and when your commander uses a signature active skill 3 times after entering battle for 3 seconds, you increase your commander's signature active skill activation chance by an extra 45% for 12 seconds. So this is basically allowing you to have a really high activation chance on Yodit's skill, which is going to be where you can deal all the major damage with this hero and on top of it, trigger that damage immunity state, which is going to give you a free turn of just pure trading, which is amazing for a free-to-play player. The reason why I talk about the third slot being super flexible, it is you can switch this out all the time. I just personally like the Hammurabi because I just get access to the double sunder effect that we still had from our previous lineup, and we get the recovery units, which kind of is nice because we get a bit more recovery. And with the Tribuana for skills, all you need to unlock is King's Blade. I know people say this is overrated, but this one legendary skill for you, it's an 8k pop, and it's going to allow you to increase all of the heroes' damage in the lineup, which is great. And keeping fortification means you have, as you read, 110 when you max this out, increased armor whenever your hero recovers units, which she does all the time. So you can see how this is a really good little synergistic combo, how you've got some good recovery, some good slowdown effects, and then big damage activation because of the consistency Tribuana is providing. So when it comes to your unit skills, the ones I would recommend, and this is going to be even for the spenders, it's going to be Executor and Battle Roar. Battle Roar, really good, deals a massive amount of might damage and increases the hero's damage as well. Executor increases the activation skill chance even further, and every time they activated the signature active skill, there is a chance to increase the skill damage. So you basically work together, increasing your own chance and damage output. Really good little combination there with 3 heroes that free-to-play players are happily earning, right? So if we go back into this lineup, you can see the final kind of way you're going to be working towards your rings. It's going to be an Effulgent Sun, Deer, and Lion combo. This is a really good combination if you're able to work towards it, because it's going to give you the massive damage from the Effulgent Sun for only 1.6k, and then you have also 2 epic rings, which you've been using or everywhere basically from the beginning. If you don't want to do that, we do have a really good setup here, right? So this is the rings and free-to-play kind of conversion. So this is kind of how you can start off the game as a free-to-play player, where you have these 3 rings, which is the ring of the lion, the ring of the clover, and the ring of the lily. It will only cost you 1,000 coins because it's an epic rare combo, and by doing that, you actually have 3 rings you can put on any of your heroes. So this could be even for future marches, because you are increasing your might, strategy, or armor through the ring of the lion, the ring of the clover reducing the damage, and ring of the lily just being a really good recovery. You can switch this out as well for other rings that you might have. Another rare ring which deals might damage as well as a single target burst is a good option. But from here you can upgrade the ring of the lily into the ring of the bear, and as a super free to play friendly setup, you can run an epic rare epic setup. In total, it will cost 1.3k coins to get, but by doing this, it lessens the burden, right? Having 1 rare ring is a lot easier to level that up all the way to max, and then work on these 2 epic rings, and then later down the line, if you choose to, you can go in an archer direction and you can take off that ring of the bear for other marches. So kind of bringing it back into our Yodit, Tribuana, and Hammurabi march, you can see the Effulgent Sun, Deer, and Lion being that final product of it. So with that, we're going to just kind of talk about some honorable mentions for rings, and at the end of the video, I am going to talk about talent trees if you want to know about talent trees for these marches. So when it comes to different rings that you can be picking as a free-to-play player, just remember my infograph was there to basically get you into having some rings that you can have for your marches that once you've got them, you can put them elsewhere. So imagine you finish this infantry march, you're going to make a cavalry march, you can put some of these rings on other marches. That's kind of the whole point. So with that, let's go into some more kind of focused honorable mention rings that you can be going for, because we've already got the ring of the clover on here, as you guys can see, and this is the ring of the lily for everyone to go down. But you can go down the ring of the daisy. This is actually a really good ring for your Josephine, because you are going to be using that double attack state. She's going to be taking advantage of those normal attacks healing, so why not add a little bit more extra damage with the double strike. With this, you can go up for more of an expensive option, which is Ring of the Nightwolf. This is every 9 normal attacks, so you really do need these double attack states to be triggering in order to go for that. But this is a good ring if you're going down a more spender route, or if you're going to be using stuff like Bellevue as an archer march as a forecast, because yes, you could be an infantry player using the Ring of the Nightwolf with plans of unlocking an archer march for your second formation. If not, I've always said, the Ring of the Lion here is a really good ring to be picking up. And for utility options, you can be picking up the Ring of the Crow or the Ring of the Deer that I have gone down. If you come down here into the different types of rings, again, Lofty Mountain, a really good 1.6k ring, same as the Tranquil Water as a good 1.6k ring. But if we're keeping it even cheaper and staying down in 600 route, you can take Ring of the Bear. Ring of the Bear is a pretty good ring again that you can be using for your infantry. Plus, on top of that, you could be using this again for archers or even cavalry down the line. So it's all about trying to pick a ring for you. There's so many different rings that you can be putting down there. Maybe put in the comment section down below some of your favorite rings that you like to put on your infantry marches, because there is an infinite amount of combos that you could be starting off with and work from. So now let's talk about the Spenders early game go-to, right? So this is your early game formation with just some honorable mention rings that you will be working towards and you can be using from the free-to-play section, which is the Ring of the Lion and Ring of the Deer. But the main ring you will be going for is the Infulgent Sun. We're going to have more information on that in a moment. But the Miyamoto, Tribuana, and King Derek. This is going to be the Spender's go-to option. If you're spending money on this game, Miyamoto arguably is one of the best heroes in the game and can only be accessible through the VIP store. This is an insane hero, even at 3 stars, because you're able to actually increase the activation chances of different commanders, excluding himself, which is a really cool ability. Tribuana here is again going to increase the activation chance of that Miyamoto being in the commander slot, so she's there in a really good kind of fashion, like we saw in the earlier design with the free-to-play version with Yodit. And we've got King Derek here because in the early game you should have a 5-star King Derek, especially if you are a spender, because you should have gone really hard in the activity route and maxed out this hero, and you'll realize even at 5-star there's no other better option in this slot. But if you didn't get a 5-star King Derek, don't worry, you can replace this hero with Josephine or Hammurabi, whichever one you do a better with or which one you're not using, you can put in this 3rd slot as a filler. So coming into the game, let's go further into the explanation, because there is going to be some things that you really need to take care of here, so when we unlock our later heroes, you're going to be good to go. So remember, Tribuana is going to be through the legendary advent wheel, so you're going to be unlocking this hero, and I would recommend, even if you're a low spender, 3 stars is going to be enough. You do not want this hero to have super high might unless you're a max spender and you know you're gonna be able to max out every single hero, because of the way your other heroes are going to be interacting with each other. So just to remind you guys, you know Tribuana is going to increase the activation chance of the commander in this formation, which is going to be Miyamoto himself. So he's going to get a massive activation chance boost on his skill, and this is where things get really interesting, because if you have a 3-star or higher Miyamoto, you will get a brand new skill text. You can see this in the star rating. You'll increase the damage rate of his Yang might damage by 50%, but going into the 3-star, when the moment of causing this with the Now, when the moment of the end causes the hero with the highest might, and now it adds excluding the caster to the activated skill, increase the skill damage by 30%. So this is where you're now increasing the activation chance of a different hero, but this is the one with the highest might. So you really need to make sure in the lineups your commanders have the correct attributes. So what this means is for Miyamoto and Tribuana, you don't have to do too much. These two are going to work together, but for your third commander, you do typically want them to have higher might in order for your Miyamoto to trigger onto him. It's a little bit useless giving that onto, honestly, Tribuana. She doesn't really do any skill damage, so there's no point doing it on her, right? So this is going to be your go-to starter kit. And again, you can replace King Derek with a different variety of options. I just like King Derek in here again because you're able to potentially route them by himself, but really good. You've got Righteous Judgment here, really good skill that you could pick up for 8k points. When it comes to your main skills, you do want Tribuana to have King's Blade. This is going to be her main skill you want to unlock. It's just going to increase all the damage of all the heroes in the formation, including obviously the Miyamoto. And then Miyamoto can be set up in a variety of ways. I like this major setup, and this is a shout out to fellow content creator, which is Sagame, using Earth Crush and Furious Charge. The reason why it's good is you get a little bit of extra damage in the kit, which is good, but you are inflicting as well a route state, which is a CC effect that could be important depending on your 5-man formation later down the line in the game, or even on certain people. They might be running different matches which require a route to be on that hero. So this is going to be really good to help other players, including yourself, chase down targets. And then you've got Furious Charge, which I would, if I was going to recommend unlocking any one skill, just unlock this one, because every time you are machine gunning with the Tribuana and Miyamoto, you're gonna increase your might damage up by 11%. This obviously increases by the levels and stacks up to 5 times. So it's a really good one. The alternative is to actually not go down the Earth's Crush route and go really hard on the activation chance with High Spirit, but it feels like you honestly do have enough activation chance that you don't need this. But this does guarantee pretty much the machine gun to go brr, as they say. So that is the major skills that you need on Miyamoto. We've covered Tribuana and we've covered our King Derek. So that's the starter lineup that in the early game you're going to unlock through VIP, the Giant's Roar, and obviously the legendary Advent Wheel first time around. So now let's move on to the final formation that you're going to be running as a spender and working towards in the end game. So to final off the Spenders route, as you guys should know by now, it will be the Miyamoto, Tribuana, and Yodit setup. And there is a reason you want to do this. In-game, the tutorial will recommend Yodit primary, but this is going to make you lose out on damage. And this is all because of what we talked about before, with the Tribuana's activation chance landing on Miyamoto, and then the Miyamoto looking for the highest base might hero, and then increasing their activation chance. So this is going to be the end game product. You're going to be getting again Tribuana through the legendary Advent Wheel. This is basically the first season all the way up to that Imperial City. Once you complete the Imperial City and you start entering that mightiest empires for the first time in that era, you will be in the Seasonal 2 Legendary Advent Wheels. This is again where you will unlock Yodit through the wheel, as well as other heroes like Boudica, Bellevue, Lubu, you name it, right? So that's where you're going to obtain these heroes. This is where you're going to see Effulgent Sun, Deer, and Lion kind of being your go-to. But talking about rings and kind of going into this next section, you'll see the rings for pay to win. You do have choices, right? So if you want to go down a more expensive route, you can at the start, or a cheaper route. So the first one is a triple epic setup, 1.8k. This is epic, 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 being the Ring of the Lion, Ring of the Deer, and Ring of the Bear. This is really good. You can put these on any of your heroes basically, and you're good to go. I would obviously keep Ring of the Lion on your Miyamoto, or if you need to, which we're going to discuss in a moment, even on the Yodit. And this is going to help actually make this march work in a second. Ring of the Bear you can put on any of the other heroes. I normally put Ring of the Deer on the Tribuana. But from here, once you've got that lineup, you would be working towards that Effulgent Sun, which is a legendary epic setup, and you're just replacing, as you can see, the Ring of the Bear for another ring, which is the legendary one. You can change these up, guys, and you can use any of the free-to-play setups too. So if you want to run a, you know, epic, rare, epic setup like we kind of discussed in the free-to-play section, you're able to do so. But what we're going to do is go into the honorable section of the rings after we discuss how this march truly works and break down the final one, which is Miyamoto, Tribuana, and Yodit. So this is going to be the march, Miyamoto, Tribuana, and Yodit, as you guys know, and this is how it fully works. It's a very complicated march, however, it showcases the intricacies of Age of Empires Mobile, and if you get all the correct heroes together and you make them synergize perfectly, what is to come, because there is some craziness when it comes to this march. So let's dive in. We've got Tribuana, which we already know is increasing our main commander's activation skill, meaning it's going to increase Miyamoto's activation skill. What we want though is Miyamoto's to actually increase the activation chance of our Yodit. So in order to do that, all we need to do is make sure our Yodit has a higher base might than our Tribuana, and we're able to do that in a variety of ways, including gear, which is going to be with gems. You can increase it with rings, you can increase it with a variety of stuff, right? Depending on what you want to do on your might, you can choose to do so, right? So if we look at mine, you can see I've got 516, and this is at 111 Yodit, and then Tribuana at 412. So this is already going to work on my end. And if we look at Miyamoto, 492. So you can see where the stats are and how it is very important to have our Yodit with the second highest might, our Tribuana at the lowest of might, obviously Miyamoto with the highest so you can deal the most damage, and then having these heroes in the correct positions, because if they're not in the correct positions, guys, you're not going to get the machine gun of this march, right? So it is a very complicated one. I do apologize, but hopefully I've explained it perfectly there for everyone, because I have been getting cleared up a lot in the Discord. I want to say thank you to everyone who has been clearing it up a lot better for my information, right? So with this, what are going to be the skills that you're going to be wanting? So the same thing is you can run Tribuana how I've always said, and I actually do think keeping fortification is a very powerful effect for you. It saves you 8,000 Empire coins, and you are triggering it all the time through her main skill, which is amazing to see. One thing you could do if you really wanted to, you can go into that more skills and choose to have obviously Righteous Judgment. This is allowing you to reduce all enemies heroes might and strategy, so you gain a massive tempo swing, as well as obviously increasing your heroes damage through the King's Blade. When it comes to Yodit, the same as before, we're going to be using Executor. This is going to increase her skill damage every time she does that activation chance, and we're getting Battle Roar on the Yodit. This is increasing the hero's damage too, meaning everyone is dealing damage, as you can see. When it comes to Miyamoto, we're going to go the exact same route as before. We're going to have Earth's Crush. We're going to have that good old Furious Charge. And as we said before, if you want to, you could change it out, but I personally wouldn't. So that is everything to do with that march, just how this march truly works. And what we're going to do now to kind of finish it off is showcase some suggestions for the talent pages, and as you can imagine, gems for gear to finish off this video. So when it comes to talents, I'm going to talk about mainly these two heroes, because your Yodit is going to basically copy the same kind of build for the Tribuana, and that's just because that's how I personally build this hero. You can change it up to you, it's all subjective, I will tell you, but let's go down these rabbit holes, right? Miyamoto, I would personally, if you're able to, try to make him deal as much damage as possible. You are able to do that as well. I've gone down a little bit more of a tanky route with gaining the armor on the right side, but you can pick up extra might here on the tree. But by looking at this, you're going to see I'm actually quite tanky as well as dealing a truck ton of damage. One key thing in talent pages is level 55. You're going to be able to get that strength in numbers, and this is a super important skill for you guys. So you need hero level 50, should I say, and you're going to be able to unlock this. This is going to allow you to have that attribute bonus where if you come out of here, and you can see we've got that triple shield here, right? If you want that on your march, you need to have level 50 heroes and unlock strength in numbers, right? So going back into his talent page, we're going down the tree, we're getting basically all the damage as possible, and then coming into the initiative onslaught, we're going down this route again. We could have taken reduced damage taken twice, but we don't need to. Coming down even further, war hardened, go for all the basically best stats for damage, ignoring the armor in this case, and then going down into bulwarking, you'll see 3-1-1. So as long as you pause the video during this stage, guys, you will see the actual talent page I am running. You can change it, just to remind you guys, you can remove some of these points on this side and actually go down this left side if you want to actually increase the might even further. I personally don't like to do that, but that's my personal preference. So that's going to give you, without any major crazy, gems, over 492 might, which is quite nice for you with this setup with the Ring of the Lion on him as well, right? So if we go to our Tribuana, you'll notice my Tribuana has 269 armor and 412 might, which is a really nice amount because I go down again pretty similar, a super defensive route. So I want to just make sure she doesn't die and she doesn't take up any might, right? So even down here at the bottom, you want to make sure she doesn't take this might, because if you do, you're risking the fact that your Tribuana's might could be higher than your Yodit's, which is going to break the machine gun from going. So here you can see I've got a Yodit 416. She's got the Ring of Tulip on, which is giving her, obviously, it deals might damage and stuff, which is nice. But on her talent tree, you'll see, again, pretty much down the same as before, right? So if you are wondering, I will make, if you want, a full guide on talent pages if you're looking for that. I just don't want to make that this video because it'll take too long to do so, right? That should give you a good idea. What I normally do is keep one of my heroes on a damage based talent tree and the other two more on a tankier based talent tree, just ensuring Yodit has more might than Tribuana, right? So that is all that you need to know from these heroes, right? We've gone through in this video now all the information on free-to-play spenders, warrior infantry, and that's including ring setups and what you're able to do in this game. Well, we'll finish it up on the video for the spenders, because I haven't left you out, and you're probably wondering, Sneaky, that isn't it. Surely you haven't forgotten the honorable mentions for our rings. And yes, we'll go into those rings, right? So the final part for you guys is spender rings. So if you're looking for rings overall, this is basically now going into, maybe you've got those rings and you actually want to work on some better actual powerhouse rings for your marches, you're going to be able to do so, right? So one thing I really do like is Skyward Knight on the right heroes. As you can see, it reduces the hero's damage dealt by 15%, but it increases your commander's damage by a certain amount. It is based on strategy, but it doesn't really matter because it's just a flat amount, which is decent enough. And more importantly, there's signature active skill activation chance, so you get more chance on top. So you can have that on if you choose to, but even stuff like Scorch of Flame isn't too bad. It increases the hero's might of all of your heroes, which is really good. So if you don't want to go down the Effulgent Sun, you don't have to. You can go down the Scorching Flame. Also, like we've mentioned, Ring of the Bear, really good actual pickup for you if you're going down that route. And then even Lofty Mountain, right? So if you look at Lofty Mountain, this is going to give you reducing your troops' might damage taken by 2.85%, which is really good against pretty much everyone right now that's running might-based heroes. heroes, and then after that 18 seconds, you increase your damage taken. So this is increase your damage dealt, should I said. So a really good skill again for you. You don't care about these being armed or strategy. You can just whack these on your marches. And then up to the top, you got Tranquil Water. Again, after entering the first 18 seconds of entering battle, you just reduce your damage taken by your troops by a flat amount. This is a really powerful one again for your account. So I would definitely look at some of those rings for you, and hopefully with all of that information in this guide, and we've talked about all of basically the starter infantry stuff that you need to know for free-to-play spenders. What is the skills you need to unlock? What are their marches? How those marches work out? Let me know how I've done. And if I've missed anything, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll try and answer those questions. I'm going to probably do a full video on talents, and I'll probably do a full video, guys, on gems, because gems are pretty in-depth and they will take too long in this video too, right? But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this nice breakdown, so you guys know what to look forward to, what to work towards in Season 1, Season 2, when you're playing Age of Empires Mobile and going down that Warrior Infantry route. And if you've enjoyed it, smash the like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, stay safe, guys. Stay sneaky. Peace out.